Our guest tonight is Arseniy Yatsenyuk, who served as Yushchenko's foreign minister. And he's calling for the dismissal of the current government. He joins me now from Kiev, overlooking ground zero for that current uprising. Thank you very much for joining me. Let me start by asking you, how did this suddenly morph from a protest into a revolution, as the protesters are calling, looking to topple an elected government?
Good to hear you. We in Ukraine have a peaceful protest. People are fighting for their civil rights and liberties. And you know what actually triggered this? It's not just the riot police that violently beat a young Ukrainian generation at this square that you just see. This is a certain kind of consecutive row. This is the corrupted government, corrupted president, no reforms in the country, and U-turn that this president made from the European Union going back to Russia.
Okay. Mr. Yatsenyuk, what is the next move then? What happens? Is there negotiations with the president? Is this standoff going to continue? What do you expect is going to happen?
In any case, we have the key demand for today is to pass a non-confident vote in the House. If it goes in the right direction, we can get some kind of political compromise in order to fix this political crisis. Otherwise, the situation could be not as stable as today. And it much depends on this president, whether is he ready to negotiate and whether is he ready to reach the compromise. The ultimate goal of the opposition is snap presidential and parliamentary elections. But he was very clear, this president was very clear, saying today nothing in his State of the Union. So he says that everything is going fine and no protest in Kiev, and he respects the right, but he is not ready to make any moves to handle this process and to fix this political crisis in the country.
Well, let's talk about, you mentioned a whole lot of grievances when it really did start because of the EU trade deal. These protests did start, that's how we've become aware of them. So why do you think it is that this president did not sign it yet? I mean, he's backed away from it. Many people say it's because Europe, the European Union, didn't actually give him as much financial incentive to be able to do it without being hurt by Russia trade sanctions.
This is a very important question. My feeling is that it was the bluff from the start. This president has nothing to do with the European values. He probably has something to do with the European value, but it contradicts to the real standards of democracy in Europe. So it's not just only about Russia. The thing is that the European Union was very clear, saying that if you sign an association agreement, this is not the bid auction. You can't sell the country to the European Union or to Russia. This is the way how to reform the country, but not how to get an additional financial resources for the corrupted government. And he turned the tide.
Let me just break in. Yeah, sorry. It's jolly noisy where you are. Obviously, it's a little bit of a party right there behind you with all that music. But let me ask you this as well. Look, there was you remember the Orange Revolution? We all covered it. I interviewed eventually Viktor Yushchenko, and you remember back then he had been poisoned. We still don't really know, how or who or what. But the promise of him becoming president and then teaming up with Yulia Tymoshenko, who's now in jail on politically motivated charges, many people say, you didn't deliver. The Yushchenko-Tymoshenko group did not deliver. There was so much infighting, and that sector of the political world seemed to be paralyzed. I mean, aren't the people fed up by politics on all sides?
Yeah, and people were really, frustrated with this. And for today, a new trust and credibility reemerged. And you asked a very important question, and we need to deliver this. We need to deliver these changes. And these changes can deliver the new president, the new government, and the new parliament, which is to sign an association agreement with the European Union and to make real reforms and real changes in this country. Because people still believe in their future, in their European future.
But so as we look for the next few days, and we've been surprised by how the crowds keep gathering and growing, do you think it's going to be, Orange Revolution 2?
You know, it's like a legacy of the Orange Revolution. Due to the Orange Revolution, people have the spirit of freedom in my country. And this is an ongoing process, and I believe that we will definitely reach our target. A prosperous and pro-European country. And it's not an easy job. I want to be absolutely frank. It's not an easy job to topple the government, to change the president, to sign an association agreement, but this is our agenda.
Mr. Yatsenyuk, thank you very much indeed for joining me from Kiev this evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.